and we analyze that subject. It's similar as if internally we open a dialogue in which we are trying to convince someone about that subject. Okay, it's like an open debate that we do within ourselves, such as impermanence, the certainty of death. So we go through the explanation of something that technically we already know, so that gradually that will come stronger and stronger within us. Okay? But now is not the moment to explain that. Later we will talk more about that type of meditation. And then there is a third type of meditation, which is called Shargom. Shar means to rise or to appear. Okay, Gom is to familiarize, to meditate. Basically, Shargom is that in which we imagine what we need to do. We imagine the steps. It's, for example, if I need to take a path to go from here to Milan, I will imagine, okay, first I take the car. Once I take the car, I go from Albagnano to Be. Then when I am there, I pass through the bar, I turn to the left, I take the main road, then I turn to the right in Vignone to go through Vignone to take the shortcut. And then I go through the whole process, imagining all the steps necessary until I reach Milan. So I am imagining and familiarizing myself with the steps that I need to do. It's similar like athletes that when they need to go through certain exercises and so on, first they visualize the jump many times before doing the actual jump. Okay? So this is more or less what we call Shargom, which means this sort of, it is this meditation, which trying to look for a good translation, but it's like Shar means to rise. So it's like basically, it's actually when you meditate on the steps that you need to do. You familiarize yourself with the steps. So in this moment right now here, this is the type of meditation that in the Guru Puja we should do. Okay? So in the moment from verse 84, it's not the moment we can also do, but it's not the moment normally in which we will sit and make single-pointed meditation about any of the subjects. It's also not the moment in which we will sit and make an analytical meditation about it. We could do also, we could stop and make both of them. But normally as we recite the verses and we go through, it's a meditation in which we familiarize ourselves with all the steps. We imagine that we are reaching each one of the steps. So we imagine ourselves in each one of them. Just like if I imagine that I'm traveling and I can imagine, okay, now I go here, then I'm going to go there, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. And you imagine each one of the steps. Or if someone need to cook a certain meal, and you imagine, okay, first I go to the supermarket, then I buy this, then I meet that person, then I get that, then I pay, then after that I come back home, then I start cooking. To cook first I need to cut the vegetables, and then I need to wash them in this way, and then after I need to do this, and then after I need to do that. And you imagine going through each one of the steps. Okay? This is actually also one specific type of meditation, which is a very powerful form of meditation, because the more we do it, the more clear becomes what we need to do. So we have a clear picture of our own future, of where is the direction that we need to go. Also because what I see very often in many of us is that we come near to Buddhism, we like it, but we don't know really what to do. We like the mantras, we like the philosophy, we like the feeling, the atmosphere, we like the Lama and the here, that, or we can like the center, we can have this nice feeling. But very often, if we ask, what are the steps that I need to do, truly? Okay? Okay, here they are, written one by one. So, there are many texts which talk about this. There are many ways of doing this. This is a text which was written by Panchen Losang Choge Gyaltsen. There is one very beautiful text beautiful is not even the right word. It's a very profound text which written by Lama Tsongkhapa called Yönten Shigyurma, which is the foundation of all good qualities. And then there are many other ways of going through the stages of the path. That's why it is called reviewing the stages of the path. Okay? So you make this sort of reveal, but it's as we go through every part of the path, we imagine ourselves there. So, and the places that we go here are not external places, are internal places. It's like an inner travel, and we imagine inside of us that we are developing that qualities and we are gaining that experiences as we go through each one of the path. And together with that, at reverse, we imagine that we get to that place, and then we make the request to Guru Buddha, please bless me so I be able to reach there. Okay? So this is how we go. One important thing before we start the actual verses. It is said that Buddha's teachings are very vast and can reach everywhere. It's like the example that is given is like the sun. The sun is very powerful, but it's not so easy to harvest the strength of the sun. So if we want to make fire with the strength of the sun, we need one magnifying glass. If we take a magnifying glass and we put it under the sun, it will direct the sun rays in such a way that will make it very strong, and from that way we can make fire. So, similar to that, Buddha's teachings are extremely vast and profound. But most of us, and I cannot judge each and every one, but I would say all of us, we don't have now the capacity to go through all the sutras and to read everything and to have our own understanding and go through the whole process by ourselves. Maybe in few lifetimes we are able, but generally speaking, it's something very complex, very difficult. Also because the way how the teachings were given 2,500 years ago, in the context in which Buddha lived, were for people with a different mental set and a different understanding than us. So many things that at that time were taught, when we listen to them now, we may understand something completely different actually. Even because words change meaning as centuries pass. No? There is a beautiful study of the history of words. Like even one word that nowadays in Buddhism is very used, which is our emotions. Actually, emotion is a very new word. And it doesn't exist in Tibetan, for instance. No? So, when we take the texts which were taught 2,500 years ago, all the sutras of Buddha, what happened is that as we go through them, most of us, we have a lot of difficulty really understanding. So what have happened is that there were great masters, century after century, that had the clear understanding and the clear experience. And then they translated it to the time in which they were, to the capacity of their own disciples. No? And if we go through the different commentaries of Buddha's teachings along the centuries, what we will see is that as the time has been passing, each master was like chewing it a little bit more and more for us, making it more easy to understand, making it more accessible. No? So, when Buddhism arrived in Tibet the second time, which means the time in which Buddhism was brought to Tibet by the master Atisha, he found actually a reality of Buddhism in Tibet in which there was a lot of teachings were present, but they were not seen as one path. They were like at separate things. So even when the first moment that Atisha arrived in Tibet, he saw that there were great good masters there, and he saw that there were many temples. And when he first arrived, he said, "But why do you ask me to come here from India? You know, you have Buddhism, you have masters. What's the point of me coming here?" But then he was invited to the temple of Samye, if I remember correctly. And when he arrived in this temple, he saw that there were one small gompa, one small temple, chapel, for each type of practice. So there was there the chapel for the sutra. Then there was a little chapel for the lower tantra. Then the different practices, one small gompa for each practice. It's like if we would make one gompa for a single-pointed meditation, one gompa for sutra meditation, one gompa for Tara, one gompa for Yamantaka, one gompa for Vajrayogini, one gompa for Heruka, and like this we would divide each one. No? And when he saw that, he got this insight. He's saying, now I understood why I came to Tibet. You have everything, but you are not able to put it together. Because all the different manifestations of the path, all the different practices, they are different tools to go through the same path. No? So after that, he wrote this beautiful text, very, very important text, which is called Janchu Lamdrun, which Janchu Lamdrun, it's called the lamp that illuminates the path to enlightenment. Okay, and it has been one of the most important works written in Buddhist history. Because what Atisha did there is that he took all the teachings and he put in a very easy step-by-step process. He didn't invent anything. He didn't create anything new. He put it in an easy, accessible order so that we can all follow. Okay? Because the basis of Lam Rim come from one text which is called the Abhisamaya Lankara, which is called Ornament of Clear Realization. I have studied this text. Normally in monastery, dedicating like at least 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, 11 months a year. Normally it takes around 9 years to study this text. No? So I have memorized most of it on the verses part, but we recite the verses and we don't understand anything. Then you need to go through the commentary. Then you need the commentary of the commentary. Then you need a teacher explaining the commentary of the commentary. Then you need to debate about it. You know? And it is a wonderful process, and it's very beautiful, but it takes a lot of time, and a lot of space, and a lot of dedication. And even though after studying all of this, many of us are not able to put it together. You can ask many people that have gone through these studies, and you say, okay, after these 9 years of studying it, can you tell me which are all the steps that you need to follow? And still they get a little bit lost. We get a little bit lost. So what Atisha did was that he took all of that and he simply put in a way that is easily accessible, step by step. No? If we would use somehow a modern term, maybe it's not so nice to say, but somehow it's like that, is the gradual path to enlightenment for dummies, no? In which you have, okay, first step, second step, third step, what do we need to do one by one? Which is incredible. So when the abbot of the monastery in India, which was called the Vikramashila, he saw this text, he was so touched. And he said, Atisha did one of the greatest work that anyone could ever do. And if he would have been in India, he would not have done such great work. So I'm happy that he went to Tibet. So please remain there. No? After that, different masters in different traditions made their own commentaries, entering into more details, according to the needs of their own disciples and the times in which they were living. From the Sakya tradition, also from the Gelu tradition, starting with Lama Tsongkhapa. And all the masters after Lama Tsongkhapa, they all gave their own commentaries and their own explanation according to the mentality and the needs of their own disciples. But the steps of the path are very, very clear. No one invented anyone. Paponka Rinpoche, when teaching liberation in the palm of your hand, or Panchen Losang Chögyal Gyaltsen when writing the verses in the Guru Puja, or Lama Tsongkhapa when writing the great exposition on the gradual path to enlightenment, the Lam Rim Chemo, or all these other masters, that Sakya Panditas and so on, Sakya Lamdre, you know, like none of them invented anything, as Atisha didn't invent anything. They took something that was taught by Buddha and they adapted it to the capacity of their own disciples. You know, it's like the bird mother that takes the food, chews, and gives to the little birds. Otherwise, they cannot digest it. That's more or less where we are. Okay? And that's why it's so wonderful that we have this possibility, truly. And that's what makes Buddha's teachings to be alive, is that there is this capacity of adaptation to the needs and the mentalities. Because if we would have now all the sutras of Buddha without the later commentaries and teachings, we would not understand much. Okay? So, I'm not going to go into many details about the whole history of Atisha, how he came to Tibet and all the difficulties he went through and the greatness of this master and all the later teachings that came after him, which is incredibly beautiful and important. But it's important for us to know that we have something that is of extreme great value. The main reason for me why it is of such great value is because we, by ourselves, what we are able to do is to repeat what we already know. This is our tendency. Okay? So, let's go to the first verse, which is connected to that, and then we will explain we go gradually to the verses, but this will help us to understand also the preciousness of what we have. So, the gradual, verse 84. So, the whole path to enlightenment, now I will follow the commentary. It says, Shiba, donga gelam lu yonsu zopala lo jongshins, chinlab shuanis. So, as to familiarize, to train oneself, to train one's mind on the complete path to enlightenment, based on both Sutra and Tantra, and to request blessings for that. The whole path to follow is divided in the beginning into two parts. Okay? It is Lam Gitsawa Shenyen Tembetsuls, the root of the path, which is how to rely correctly upon the Guru. So the first part is relying correct a spiritual guide. Relying upon the Guru. That's the first part. That's the root of the path. And then after that, it comes, all the rest of the path comes after that, which is said, once you have relied correctly upon the Guru, how to train yourself into the path. Okay? So, why in the very beginning of the path to enlightenment it all starts with how to rely correctly upon the Guru? Because basically alone we can do many things, but the things that we can do are mostly repetitions of what we already know. It's like to learn anything in this life. Okay? To learn how to read and write, to learn how to cook. Okay, there's some problem with translation. Tutto bene con la traduzione? Sentite? Sentite? Ok? Va bene adesso? Ok, perfetto. Ok. We use modern technology to do what it said that Buddha did spontaneously in his time. In the time of Buddha, said that he would speak in one language and each person would listen in their own. No? So nowadays we use modern technology to do something not as good, but we try our best. So we can do many things, but on every aspect of life, we always learn by interacting with someone that has a different understanding than ours. No? If you take a baby and you let the baby alone, you give food, but you don't give interaction. Will the baby learn how to speak or how to develop his capacities of intellectual capacities and much more? I would say not much. So what we know, it always comes from interaction. Okay? So if we need to learn how to read and write, if we want to learn how to, as I was saying before, simply how to cook, when we go and we start cooking, actually what we do is a result of two things. What we have seen others doing and have taught us, and based on that, our own experiences and our trials and failures. Okay? Similar to read and write, similar to do anything that we can do, any profession, anything that we need to do. We learned by entering in contact with someone that knows something that we don't know. So they can show us that path. Some things we could do by our own, but it would simply take much longer. Right? It remembers me, for example, there is a film of one guy that was in jail and he had life-term sentence. So he had a lot of time to be by himself there. And he learned how to read and write by his own. And he just was taking the letters, and then he was trying to put the connections of the things together, and he did all by his own how to read, learning how to read, but it took years. No? Normally, maybe in a few months we can learn how to read if there is someone showing us. Okay? So, the question is, why do we need a guru? Or better, even before that, we need to make another question. What is a guru? That's very important. Because if we go to the question, why do I need a guru, but I don't know what a guru is, whatever answer we give most probably will not be really right. Okay? So let's just first read the first verse, and then we go back to the answer. Shinchok thampa jetsun lama la Chöchin kube solwa tabe tu dele tsawa gombo kyönyi ki geshi jesu zimbra jingilop. Through the power of having made offerings and respectful requests to you, O holy and venerable gurus, supreme field of merit, we seek your blessings, O protectors, and root of well-being and bliss, so that we may come under your joyful care. So, what is a guru? It's a little bit difficult to put it into words. Okay? Because it's something that actually goes beyond words. So, whatever type of explanation I try to give here, it will not be complete. Okay? I'm sure that there will be aspects missing, and so it is something that it goes much beyond. It's much deeper. But trying to make it simple, the guru is our guide towards enlightenment. The guru is the guidance that we receive, and the one that is guiding us to a place that we have not been. The Guru is the one that is opening our eyes to see what ourselves alone we are not able to see. The Guru is the one taking us hand by hand and helping us to go through this path that for us it's completely dark. A path through which he has already gone, he or she has already gone. A path that the Guru knows and have already realized, and because of that can show to us. Normally, when we talk about what is the Guru manifests through a person, one or more persons. But the Guru is something that goes much beyond the person. Okay? So if I ask, okay, Rinpoche, has Rinpoche been my Guru? Yes, no doubt. But does the Guru, is the Guru just the person? No, the Guru is something that goes much beyond the person. I try to explain. Okay. If I am sick, and just by myself, the only thing that I can see are my symptoms. I am not able to understand why I am feeling the symptoms. I am not able to understand what do I need to do to stop having that symptoms. I don't know what to do. Okay? And most probably, if I am left by myself, I will continue to repeat the behavior that generates that symptoms. So what do we do when we are sick? We look for a doctor. Okay? So who is the doctor? The doctor is the one that understands the process of sickness and cure and healing. The doctor is the one that has the knowledge and the experience that can put together symptoms with causes, sickness. Because we have three things. One thing is the symptom, the other thing is the sickness, which is the unbalanced state in the body and mind, and the third thing are the causes of the sickness. So the doctor is someone that can put these things together, that can look to us and understand what is happening. And then can say to us, look, you have these symptoms because there is this imbalance, and this imbalance is being created by this, this, and that. And in order to create balance again, you need to stop doing this, and you need to do that. And by that, you can cure yourself. Okay, that's the doctor, right? So, when I go to a doctor, I rely upon the doctor, which is a person. But there is a difference between going to the person and going to the doctor. I don't know if it's clear this for you. You know, I can be the best friend of that person. That is the doctor. But this doesn't mean that I rely upon the doctor. Relying upon the doctor means relying upon the guidance to cure myself. Relying upon the person means I like you, you are nice, you are a good friend, I feel good when I am near to you. That's all very wonderful. And I am sick, but I'm not asking you to help me to cure my disease. Is it clear, this thing? Okay? So, similar to that, the Guru is the one that have the full experience, the knowledge, that can guide us to cure our disease. Our disease of selfishness, our disease of ignorance, that generates anger, jealousy, and all of these other mental disturbances which are the imbalances of our body. The root cause is our ignorance. So we could say that the Guru is someone that can make the correct diagnosis and can give us the correct treatment to get out of the cycle of suffering. Okay? Which is quite a lot. No? But I can be nearby the greatest of all gurus. But if I don't rely upon him as my guru, and I just think he's a good friend, will he be my guru? No. I can be the best friend of the greatest of all doctors. But this doesn't mean that I will be following his treatment. Because who has the capacity to cure someone from a disease? The doctor or the patient? Who has the real capacity to cure from the disease? The patient. The doctor can give the indications. But the only one that can really cure from the disease is the patient. How? By following the correct advices of the doctor. Okay? So if I can be the best friend of the doctor, but if I don't follow the advices because I don't see him as the one to give me advices, I would never get cured. So he's not actually my doctor. Similar to that, when we start relating ourselves with someone that guides us spiritually, it is a process that as we go along the path, it becomes deeper and more clear. It's not obvious since the beginning. It's very common that when we meet someone that has higher spiritual realizations than ours, which means a person that has more patience, more love, more stability, more peace, a person that have done some steps that we have not yet done, in a way. No? We can become attracted by the person. It was like Rinpoche. To be by the side of Kanchen Rinpoche, it was so pleasurable. Just to be by his presence. No, we didn't need to receive any particular teaching or any explanation or anything. Just to be by his presence was already like so nice. Like the music that was written in his honor by his first secretary, which was called Mariette, which said, being with you is like a balm. No? So it's just being by his presence was already giving so much. Okay? So it's normal that in the beginning we get attracted by the presence, by the energy, by the qualities of such incredible beings. But as we go through the process, gradually we are able to take refuge in the Dharma, which is the moment in which we see that there is a path to follow, that the process of healing comes from our own effort and not from someone else. Because if I feel so much good and well-being when I am together with my Guru, this doesn't mean that I don't need to put my own effort, because the actual process of healing is coming from our own effort. It's not coming from the Guru himself. Because all the Buddhas can come here, but by themselves they are not able to change our mind. We can feel very good when we are together, near to them, and when we can feel their presence. But this doesn't mean that we are necessarily changing our mind and growing on the path. So, by ourselves alone, what we are able to do is to repeat what we already know and to learn from failure and experience. We do, it doesn't work, okay, let's try different. Do, doesn't work, let's try different. Do, doesn't work, let's try different. This is how we can learn, by ourselves. So what we can do just by ourselves basically is we repeat what we already know, we repeat what we already do, and then we can grow and we can learn by trial and error. That's what we can do just by ourselves. Then, the other possibility is having someone that has a better understanding, that has a better experience, that based on this is able to show us which are the steps that we can do, which are the steps that we can follow. Okay? So, this is what we call our teacher in school. If we need to learn how to read and write in school, we have a teacher that is going to help us. If I want to learn how to cook Indian food, where do I go? And Japanese cook to learn? No, I go to an Indian cook. I go to someone that knows how to cook Indian food, right? Or if I want to learn how to speak Chinese, I don't go to a teacher of Arabic, right? So when I want to learn something, I need to be with someone that knows and has the qualities that I want to develop, because just by myself I am not able. So this is the function of the Guru. The function of the Guru is not of teaching. It's an important thing to understand. Because there is a difference between a teacher and a Guru. Our Guru can also be our teacher, but not necessarily. Are two different things. The Guru has the function to bless us and to guide us on the path. Sometimes putting us in different situations, interacting with us in different ways, that gradually will help us to develop our qualities on the path to enlightenment. The teacher is someone that can give us conceptual understanding. And can say, oh, this is like this, that is like that, and we can learn and we can accumulate knowledge, which is very useful. But it's different than what we request from the Guru. Like, whenever we do the prayers, what we request from the Guru, we request his blessings. The blessings is the capacity to interact with us in such a way that we have, our mind starts to change, and we can understand what we have not understood before. We can have different deep experiences. It's like if the knots that are there starts to loosen, and then we can actually understand things in a different way. Okay? When I was studying in Sera, there was one moment in which we say, oh, there are the gurus that teach without words. It is said. Which said, those that would teach the Dharma without sound by expressions of the body. And then I was thinking at the time, what is that, And in the debate, we would sometimes debate and make some jokes. We were all young. And then we'd say, okay, how he's doing to show the Four Noble Truths. Here, there, 1, 2, 3, how who could show something like this. But later thinking, I could see that, for example, Kanchen Rinpoche taught me much more without words than with words. Not only by his presence, but by experiences, by different ways of interaction that made me understand much, much more of the Dharma. Okay? So, as we will move along our own path, we will gradually have a more and more clear understanding of what is the Guru. And we will have a deeper level of connection and relation. It's not something that we develop once, then it's done. It's something that we cultivate during our whole life. Okay? And most probably after 10, 20, 30, 50 years of practice, you will look and you say, oh, wow, now I understood something. This is normal. Okay? Because as we go along, we go deeper and deeper and deeper. As a first understanding, for me, which is more than enough, is the simple fact that I, by myself alone, I don't know what I need to do. I will just repeat what I already know. So I need to look for someone that knows more than me. And I have found 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 persons that can help me. More than one. We don't need to have, the Guru is not necessarily one person. We can have many people that are said to be manifestations of the Guru, because the Guru is the guidance towards enlightenment. Then each one of them are our Gurus? Yes. But is the Guru only limited to one person? Not. No? It is said even that everyone that teaches us something that is connected to the path of enlightenment is our guru. No? And I have had this experience, which I've talked about many times, because it touched me so deeply. And it's difficult to put truly into words. But for me, it's an example of a manifestation of the Guru in the most uncommon way. In other words, an encounter that taught me something important in a non-informal way. No? I was in the beach, and I was going to one place a little far away, and I wanted very much to drink coconut water. And what happened was that first I met someone selling coconut water. It was quite expensive. Then, okay, anyhow, I bought one. Then, after walking for quite some time, I finally arrived in this place where there was no tourists, no one, quite far away from everything. And then, in the middle of this place, there was this man selling coconut. And he was there very peacefully, you know, not anxious at all, not saying, okay, now finally someone arrived. He was very peacefully. And then at that moment, I asked him what was the price. It was a very good price. I was expecting, he's here in the middle of nothing selling coconut. He will make a very high price because he'd have no competition. No, at a very good price. And when I start talking with him, I found this man that was little, not very old, but not young either. But he had such stability, with such humbleness. And I was deeply touched. Actually, even now when talking, I get some sort emotional because, from an external point of view, it was nothing more than buying coconut from someone. That's all. But I learned a lot from that meeting. Not in a conceptual way. He showed me this beautiful state of humbleness with dignity. And umiltà più che modestà, no? Yeah. So you had this humility with dignity and generosity at the same time. It was very beautiful to feel and to be there. Then just one detail, in the end I asked his name. And he said his name was Michel. No? But anyhow, that's just a detail. But it was a really, really touching experience. So did I learn something from him? Yes. Sure. And as Lama Tsongkhapa said in the teachings of Lam Rim, everyone that teaches us anything connected to our path, it's a manifestation of the Guru. Okay. Then we have what we call a root Guru. We have the masters that guide us, that give us commitments, that teach us, that cares for us with love and everything else. That it's also very, very important. Okay? But one important thing to understand is that the Guru is guiding us on a path that we have not yet gone through. And we need such guidance. If we relate to the Guru, to our Guru, on a human level only, I said only, we will get that. If we relate to our Guru as a beautiful human that is guiding us on our own path, that's what we will get. Okay? So, if we do not have guidance, we remain where we are. That's why the first step that we have on the path is how to rely correctly upon the Guru. That's the first thing that we need to do, because none of us are able to grow if we do not have someone that guides us. And in the modern times, we have this idea that we can be, how do you say in English, autodidatta, self-taught. Okay, we can say, oh, I can take many books, I can watch many videos, and I can teach myself the path to enlightenment. I don't need to rely upon anyone. First one thing, by reading books and watching videos, you are already relying upon someone. First thing. It's not being self-taught. Self-taught is close yourself in a blank room, without entering in contact with anyone and anything, and then let's see if you can learn something out of that. In the moment that we read something, we are already learning from the one that wrote it. When the moment that we watch or we listen, we are already learning. So this is not being self-taught. But much deeper than that, it is very clear that we are not able to learn something deep without having the direct contact with someone that not only have the technical knowledge, but also has the direct experience of that. We'll never have our mind deeply touched by the preciousness of this life if the one that is showing us that doesn't have that awareness. So, it is fundamentally important for us to be in contact with people that are what they teach us. And this makes a whole big difference for all of us. And it's really, really important on this path. But the Guru becomes really important in the moment that we want to go to enlightenment. And that's one issue. Because it's like, I want to go to one place, I want to travel, I want to go to Bodh Gaya, or I want to go to Mount Kailash. Let's say a place I really want to go. I want to go to Mount Kailash. Okay, then I need to learn how do I get there, who can help me, how do I get the visa, what are the maps, how to read the map, how to get there. And I need a lot of help and support in order to be able to get to Mount Kailash, make my circumambulation in Mount Kailash, and then come back. Okay, I need all my help and support. But if I find someone that is the best guide to go to Mount Kailash, but I really don't want to go to Mount Kailash. I think, oh yes, Mount Kailash is beautiful, but I have no real wish to get there. I would not be that interested in all the explanations. I will not follow all the steps of preparation. I will not do that. Because truly I'm not so much interested of getting there. The more I am truly interested in getting there, the more I will value the one that is guiding me to get there. It's like if I go to a doctor, but I really don't care much about that sickness, I will not follow so well the treatment. Or if I go to a doctor and I don't believe that I can get cured from the sickness, I will not put so much effort in the treatment either. Okay? So, when we say that the first step on the path is to rely correctly upon the Guru, it implies actually wanting to get out of samsara. It implies this wish to follow the path. It implies falling in love with Dharma. It implies all of that. To do it correctly. That's why it's something that is gradual. It's not something that we do from one day to the other. It's not, okay, I have met that person, I recognize as my Guru, I do the refuge ceremony, done. Next step, what I do now. It's not like that. It's a whole process that we gradually develop. Okay? So, there are two ways of relying upon the Guru correctly. By thought and by action. Okay? There is one way in which we relate to our Guru through our emotions, through our thoughts, internally. And then there is the way how we manifest this and we relate externally, physically, through our own actions, okay? Which are called in Tibetan Sampa and Jorwa. Okay, Sampa is by thought, Jorwa it means by action. So, first thing, if we want to go to a very important trip, the most important thing in our life, and we look for someone to guide us, we must look for the right person. We shouldn't just trust anyone. Right? It's like even anyone. If we have a sickness and we go to look for a doctor, do we accept any doctor, or we go to look for we try to get references from the doctor, we try to see if the doctor is good, maybe we meet few doctors and we see which one do we feel better, and so on. No? So if we really want to get cured from our deepest disease of ignorance, and we want to get rid of the symptoms of constant insatisfaction and suffering as a whole, it's not something superficial. It's something extremely important. So, traditionally it's said that we need to test our guru for at least 12 years. Test means we get near, we listen, we see, we experience before truly entrusting ourselves to the guru. It's like first I go to check many doctors, I see who is the right one, I try a little bit, until the moment I just say, okay, now I can truly trust this doctor. Okay? And some people may say, oh, but 12 years is too long. Actually, it's not. Because I see in many of us, as we go along our own path, it takes time before we can develop true, deep trust. It's not something that comes from one day to the other. It takes time until we can truly wish to follow that path and to develop this level of love and trust so strong that we could go anywhere. This is something that is not obvious. So one very important thing is, before we choose who is guiding us on the path, sure we need to wish to go to the path. But before choosing who is going to guide, one or many, it is very important that we need to try again and again, and we need to look, and we need to experience. Because once we go through a path, once we trust someone, then we need to really go. We cannot come back so easily. We cannot start one treatment, then say, oh, I don't like this treatment anymore, let's go to another one. So you have a bad, strong sickness, then you do 2 sessions of one treatment, then you go back, then you do a little bit of another treatment, then you go back, then you mix with another treatment yet. Sure, it doesn't work. Once we choose one treatment, we go for it from beginning to end. That's why we need to choose really well. Okay? So, when choosing our guru, there are 2 ways of doing this. One way, it's a more conceptual process in which we look for the qualities that we need to look in the guru. Then we see if that person has that qualities or not. And then based on that we make our own decision. Okay? Then there is another way, which is to fall in love. Which is a way in which we meet a person that connects us to our own spiritual path. And somehow we feel attracted to this person. And we feel faith and we feel gratitude, and it's something that comes from within. It's not something that is conceptual. And then one time I was reading a commentary on the text which is called the 50 verses of Guru devotion. The Tibetan is the Lama Chupa, and it's a very special text, and not for beginners, but it's a very special text. Anyhow, in this commentary of this text, which was written by one Western scholar called Alexander Berzin, on the commentary there is a point in which, on what I remember, he was saying, one of the difficulties of Western Buddhist practitioners is that we relate mostly to our gurus as teachers from a conceptual level. And we do not develop so easily this emotional connection of love, that like falling in love with the guru somehow. No? This trust that is not conceptual. And when I read that, I was thinking, I think in most of our Dharma centers around we have the opposite problem. You know? That very easily I see people having a deep connection from heart to heart, but not entering maybe on the understanding that there is a path to follow. Okay, actually we need both. We need this heart-to-heart connection. We need this joy that when we are in the presence of the Guru, it gives us that just by remembering him, just by thinking, just by anything, it gives this joy, it gives this well-being state. That's very important. It's like when we remember someone that we are completely fall in love with. We are not able to remember that person and be totally indifferent. No? When we are in the presence of someone that we are in love with, we cannot be indifferent. You know, physically things move inside. Our emotions, we remain without words. You know, how many times it happened to me to be in front of my guru and I don't know what to say or what to ask. You know, I have had the fortune in my life to have many gurus. And I have this beautiful experience many times of just being in bliss, being in their presence. Or just having this joy. Or arriving with a question and just by being in his presence getting the answer. And not knowing even what was the question anymore at a certain point, because everything is clear. You know? There was one of our friends was saying that happened many times in his life that he would go to Rinpoche and he was maybe angry about a certain situation connected to the center or something like this, and he had maybe a question or this and that. And then we arrived in the presence of Rinpoche just by going there. Then suddenly everything was pacified and everything that he wanted to say looked so stupid, you know, and then was gone. You know? But later also it remained gone, not that was gone and after come back when he gets out of the room. No? So, this aspect of this non-conceptual trust and love and this feeling, this is something that it's very important to cultivate. Very, very important. But together with that, there is another part, which is remembering that this most wonderful, incredible human being that is there guiding us, that we love so much, is giving us tools that we need to use. That it's wonderful to be in his or her presence, but it's not enough. That there is an actual path to follow, and this path we alone can do, no one else. And as long as we follow the path that we have been guided to, we are being guided by our Guru. Our Guru is always there with us. Okay? And me personally in this life, I had 22 formal Gurus. No? Of which Rinpoche has always been the main one. You know? And then many other people that have taught me a lot. So, I think it is, how to say, the word guru in Tibetan is lama. Okay, I don't speak Sanskrit, so I cannot explain the meaning in Sanskrit of the word. But in Tibetan, Lama, La has different meanings. Also Ma has different meanings. So, one of the meanings of La, it's vital energy, vital force, essence of life. Okay, that's one of the meanings of La. Ma means mother. So one of the meanings of Lama is that one that nurtures us, that grants us as a mother the essence of life, that which is the most precious, our own life force, which is the path of the Dharma, which is developing love and wisdom. The other meaning is that La means highest point, the top. Okay? Like when we have a hill and we have the peak of the hill, of the mountain. Ma means no, negation. So, top, no, which means that there is no above. Okay? Which means from all the relations that we have in our lives, they are all with great of importance. The relationship with our parents, the relationship with our friends, the relationship with our companions, and many other levels. But the most important, and the one that has the highest importance and the heaviest impact in our life, is the relation with the Guru. So from all the relations is the most important one. This is also one of the meanings of Lama. Okay? Now, how to relate mentally, correctly? Because what we request in this verse is, may I be able to rely correctly upon the Guru. And as we were saying before, there are two ways of relying correctly upon the Guru. Mentally, by mind, and by action. Okay? By mind, it's mainly how do we see the Guru. Okay? So, one first thing that we have been saying before was that, taking the metaphor of going to the doctor, there is a difference between relating to the person of the doctor and relating to that person as the doctor. Is this clear? Or not? It's clear, right? Okay, so this is the first thing. We relate to the person of the Guru, but as the Guru. Just as we relate to the person of the doctor as the doctor. Okay? So, when I go to my doctor, and I trust the doctor that he can really have the right knowledge and then he can help me to cure from my disease, do I enter into discussion on what are his political views? Or do I care what is the color of his underwear? Or how many children he has? Or what is his relationship in his marriage? Or anything else? Do I enter into that when I go to the doctor? I don't know. I have never done that when I'm going to a doctor. I don't know if you have ever done that when going to a doctor. You know? Sure, I prefer if the doctor is someone nice and kind. But what is the real function of the doctor? What do I really need to look for? That he has the right knowledge and capacities to help me, to cure me from my disease. Okay? So, when looking for the Guru, mentally we should relate to his qualities, the qualities that we need. I need to recognize that. That's very important. Okay? It's not on us to enter into other aspects, not for anything else, but because that's not beneficial for our own path. I cannot judge the capacity of my doctor of curing my disease because of his political views, or because of whatever other aspect which is not connected to it. Okay? I can have more attraction to someone with some political views than others, but this is not connected to the doctor itself. Okay, it's clear this, right? So, on this we should see and recognize the qualities internally. So normally when we talk about looking for the Guru, there are basically 10 main qualities that we should look for. Okay? So if we have already chosen and we already have our Gurus, we should at least try to recognize these qualities in our Gurus and relate towards them. Okay? If we are looking for a Guru, then we have some good basis to, okay, which are the qualities that I need to look for. Okay? So the qualities are as follows. Let me see. Whenever I count these qualities, sometimes I get more than 10, sometimes less than 10. Let me see if this time I'm able to remember precisely the 10. But the Guru must have a good understanding of Buddha's teachings, should be able to explain to me clearly in a way that I am able to understand. Okay. Should practice what he teaches. Okay. Should have morality, concentration, and wisdom. Okay. Should have a good understanding on the correct view of reality and emptiness. Should be able to explain to me emptiness in a way that I am able to understand. Should have more qualities than the disciple. And should love the disciple and never give up on him or her. Okay? So these are the 10 qualities. Okay? So, again, the order can be little different, but should have a good understanding of Buddha's teachings. Should be able to explain it in a way that we are able to understand. Should to guide us on the path that Buddha taught. Should be someone that put effort into his own spiritual path, which means to practice what he teaches. Should have morality, which is the capacity to keep one's own commitments and to abandon what is harmful and to cultivate what is beneficial. Should have concentration, which is the capacity to control one's own mind and to direct it where he or she wishes. Should have wisdom, which is the capacity of discernment and clarity regarding reality, mainly. Should have a good understanding on the correct view of reality, on emptiness. Should be able to explain emptiness in a way that we are able to understand. Okay. Should have more qualities than the disciple. This is the minimum quality that we should look in a Guru, that should have more qualities than us, spiritually. And last but not least, should have compassion and love. Should be a person that is compassionate, that loves his or her disciples and would never give up on anyone. Okay? So these are the qualities that normally we look for. At the same time, these are the qualities that we relate with. So once we find these qualities, we connect with them. And we don't need to go through other things. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. What means to have morality? There are 3 things connected to morality, just to understand better. One thing is ethics. Another thing is morality. Another thing is vows. Okay, there are 3 things. In our Western language, such as English, there is not so much difference between morality and ethics. They are more or less the same. Okay? Sincerely, I had some nice talk with Lama Caroline about this some time ago, because she likes to use the word ethics, I like to use the word morality, and from my side, what happens is that not having such a strong Western background, I use the words thinking on the Tibetan meaning. But actually they are completely different. Okay, so let's forget about what we know and let's forget about the words. Let's just try to understand the meaning behind. What we call ethics, okay, it's basically a clear understanding of what is right and what is wrong, what should be done and what should not be done. Okay? That's why we have the ethics of the Mahayana, of the Vajrayana, depending on the context. We will have different sets of, let's so-called like rules, saying, okay, this is good and this is not good. This should be done, this should be avoided. This is what we call ethics. Okay? And we could stay days and months discussing ethics because there are aspects of ethics that change in accordance to context and in accordance to who are the ones there. And it's like we could go on and on. Like, it's really not an easy subject. But we have a lot of it. That's why, like in Buddhism, you have the 10 negative actions. That's part of ethics, in which we judge not killing, not stealing, not lying, for example. This is all part of ethics. Okay? When we talk about so-called morality, my own understanding, okay, is that to have good morality, it means to have a strong capacity to do what we know that we are supposed to do and to abandon what we know that we are supposed to abandon. Because I can have a very clear ethics, I'm not supposed to kill. But then I have the habit to kill and I'm not able not to kill. Which means I have a clear ethics, but I don't have a good morality. Okay? So there is this difference, first of all. So one thing which is important is that the morality is connected to the ethics of the person. It's something very personal. So what is my sets of rules based on what I understood that is right and wrong, and my own capacity to respect that. That's my morality. If you have a different sets of what is right and wrong, it doesn't mean that I don't have good morality. It means maybe my ethics are different than yours. I don't know if this is clear. Okay? One thing is like, I can say killing is wrong, and you can think killing is right. If you kill for a good reason, you should kill. Just making one example. Okay? Then in the moment that you find the need to kill for a good reason, you are following your ethics. But according to my ethics, that's wrong. Okay? But you are following what you believe that is right and what you believe that is wrong. So one of the important parts is what we should do and what we should avoid. This is what we talk about ethics, okay? No, related to anything. No, related to the Guru, what we should look within our own Guru is that it should be someone that has this stability and the capacity to avoid what should be avoided and to accomplish what should be accomplished, and has a good stability in his own actions also. And also we can look for having a good sets of ethics that we share. Okay? It's not something that... One sec, we just explain the complete thing first. So, the main aspect of morality is the ability to follow what we know that should be followed and abandon what we know that should be abandoned. Okay? According to what it's our own understanding. We have many things that we know. If we already start by the little things that we know, it's already a lot. The third aspect is vows. Vows are commitments that we make because naturally we do not do what we know that we should be done, and we do not avoid what we know that should be avoided just naturally. Okay? So I have ethics. I have my own capacity, and to support my capacity of avoiding what should be avoided and do what I should do, I take commitments, which are called vows. Vows are extremely personal. Vows are not there in order to be part of something or in order to, follow a certain procedure that anyhow you need to do to go through a sort of religious, career. Vows are actually a very personal, intimate commitment that functions as guidelines in our own lives. Okay? This is very important. Okay? So, for example, Rinpoche had one morality that he kept perfectly. And many, but one that, for example, he had a very clear commitment. Anyone who is a friend, it's always a friend. Always. And he had this very clear thing, if anyone does anything wrong towards me, negative towards me, that's his problem, not mine. And it doesn't matter what you do to me, I will continue to love you and care for you. He did it in the most excellent way, for example. Okay? If we look, for example, from the part of the teacher, there are 4 commitments that the teachers take in order to guide disciples. Giving materially, speaking gently, acting in accordance to the teachings, and acting in accordance with the needs and capacities of the disciples. So Rinpoche did it in the most excellent way, for example. Huh? Sure, luckily for us. To be gentle. It means to be kind and gentle. At the same time, there is one other vow, which says, you should not avoid being wrathful when necessary. You know? If I do something very stupid, and I don't understand that that's stupid by someone being kind to me, I need someone strong saying to me that that's wrong. I am extremely grateful to all the times that Rinpoche was very wrathful to me, because it helped me to see aspects that otherwise I would not see. Okay? So the point is that we are not here, when we relate to our Guru, to point the finger and check, oh, does he have or did he have this and that quality or not? That's not the point at all. This is absurd. The point is with what I connect myself. And when I go to look for a Guru, okay, open my eyes. This is another thing. But I need to connect to the qualities. This is something that is very important. Because the qualities to which I connect, that's where I will be guided. Okay? For example, in some teachings explained very clearly, there is one quality that is not what we should expect from the Guru. To be nice and simpatico. How do you call that in English? Yeah, to be someone nice and beautiful and speak in a way that we like. That's not the function of the Guru. The function of the Guru is to guide us correctly on the path. For example, Kyabche Son Rinpoche, that was one of the Gurus of Rinpoche, and everyone that was his disciple, say that he was one of the most incredible masters. You know, Rinpoche stayed for a few years as his personal attendant. And he said that he would cry almost every day. Because Son Rinpoche was so hard, so direct. Son Rinpoche used to do something which I think it's incredible, and he was able to manage. If there were 2 people that would complain one about each other, person A would go to say something negative about person B, and person B would say something negative about person A. The first occasion, it didn't matter where it was, that the 2 people were together, he would just call and say it open in front of everyone. Oh, you said this, you said that. Can you clear things up? You know? And he was very direct and very strong. And he was not so easy and nice to be nearby in this way. But he had this incredible capacity of guiding and showing the path. So, what do I look to the Guru? It's not someone with whom I need necessarily to feel comfortable. is not someone that will put me into my comfort zone. The Guru is someone that takes us out of our comfort zone in a secure way and helps us to grow. That's really important. You know? If we have our Guru, and by being near to our Guru, by listening to the teachings, by following our own Guru, we feel that we are very comfortable and we remain as we are, and we don't go into our own processes of, how to say, sort of inner conflicts, in which we need to look to our own defilements in our own eyes and to do something about it. If we are very comfortable, means we are not with the right Guru. You know, normally the more we get near to the Guru, the more difficult it becomes, not more pleasurable. Because the more we get near to the Guru, the function of the Guru is to make us to see our own defilements in order that we can change it. As Papunka Rinpoche used to say, not he used to say, in one teaching it's written, Papunka Rinpoche said, defilements can be easily eliminated when manifested. Just as if we take, for example, he was using the example, he said, just as poison in the blood can be taken away when manifested as an infection in the skin. If you have poison inside of you, it's very difficult to take away the poison as it's going around. But when it manifests into the skin as a very bad infection or something, it's painful, but that's when you can actually get the poison and do something to take it out. So, our anger, our fears, our jealousy, our envy, and all of that, as long as it is hidden inside of us, it's difficult to do something about it. In the moment that it manifests, that's when we can actually apply the antidote and do something about it. So, normally, when we go truly on the path to enlightenment, when we are near to the Guru and is a good Guru for us, what will happen? Two possibilities. Or we find ourselves in an extremely peaceful state of mind that we are not so much used to, or we find ourselves in a sort of inner hell. Which means, but we are in a sort of inner hell within safety. You know, with guidance, with support. But we find ourselves front in front with the deepest of our shadows. And somehow we need to do something about it. And we have the tools to do it. Yes. This is not precisely true. For example, you had more than one Guru. Nima Tulku is one Guru. He gave you many initiations and teachings. We have one root Guru. We have one root Guru, which is one that touches our heart particularly, that we relate to as our father, our mother, our friend, everything. Okay? Okay? This is something that once we have one, this is one Guru, we can have not so many like this. Okay, when I say I have 22 Gurus, 22 masters that teach me so many different things, but as Rinpoche there was only one for me. Okay? First of all, we continue the path by following the advices, by putting into practice, and by having his presence, even though it's not in a physical form, that continues to guide us. Truly. So, now it comes the point in which we need truly to go and say, okay, what are the steps that I need to do? I receive all the blessings, I continue to receive the blessings, I have all the love, I have the trust, but now I need to follow the path. Okay? And then which are the steps that I need to do? Then luckily we have masters that wrote them for us. And these are the steps that we need to follow. Okay? But the first step is to make this connection stable. And once we see the qualities, there is another level which is deeper, which it's described in the Guru Puja in verse, one second. Sangye drame chumbe madenwe maroduke nidu drowala deshelam sachishite. Kyabkon tuje chenla solwa dip. Okay, verse 46. In which it says, "We make request to you, O compassionate refuge protector. With precision, you impart the good way of those gone to bliss," which means of the Buddhas, "to the unruly beings of this degenerate age, who are difficult to tame and who were not subdued by the countless Buddhas of the past." How many Buddhas in the past have manifested themselves within a gross body? Countless. It is said that so many holy beings, so many enlightened beings, so many Buddhas have manifested into this world and are still manifested. But from all these infinite, countless manifestations of Buddhas, who was the one that was able to tame me? Who was the one that was able to catch me with the hook of compassion and to show me the path? My Guru. Okay? So, you are actually greater to me than all the Buddhas put together. Because there is one thing that for us it's not so easy sometimes to understand, but I try to explain. When we talk about gratitude, it's not regarding the qualities of the person, but it's regarding what we receive. So for example, if I have one person that is teaching me how to read and write, one person showing me how to cook, one person showing me how to paint and polish well the nails, and one person showing me how to reach enlightenment, which one gives me more? You know? Maybe the one showing me how to read and write has a really difficult character. And the one teaching me how to polish the nails is the most kind and beautiful person. But to whom should I have more gratitude? What is of more benefit? Knowing how to read and write or knowing how to polish well the nails? I would say how to read and write. So I have more gratitude to the ones that have taught me how to read and write, independently of the fact of being or not being a nice and kind and wonderful person. So that it's not a matter of pointing the finger and looking for the qualities and checking is this quality there or not. It's a matter of understanding what have I received and what function have you been doing for me. And in this case, our Guru is doing for us the function of what the Buddhas are supposed to do. Because what are the functions of the Buddhas? Once anyone reaches enlightenment, what a Buddha is supposed to do? Help others to get out of the cycle of suffering. And how can a Buddha help anyone? By interacting with that being. Okay? So, and what is the best way of helping? Through the Dharma. So, who can we see? Only those that are on the same level of manifestations as us. We can have all the Buddhas in their Sambhogakaya form, in their pure, subtle body. You know, they have been all around here. Can we see them? I cannot. Maybe you can. So, if I need to be guided, I need to be guided by someone that comes to my level. Flesh and bone, that speaks my language. You know? Otherwise it can happen like if I come here now and I start explaining to you the most incredible thing of the complete path to enlightenment. Ina yang pöke getone dreshe gyabina. Ngi kena to tambo lam gitsawa shenyin tengo gres. Shinye tensane ane shine lamgi rimba chine rimbe tone drogo gres. Ka sheshone tambo dine NgalSo kunzo jamju gi sem drogo gre. Teda nyambu tendam janju gi sem drogo gres. Okay? Maybe I have explained the most incredible thing. But if you don't understand, have I explained anything to you? No. So we need someone that speaks our language. And I'm not talking about English, Italian, Portuguese, or whatever, or Tibetan. I'm talking about someone that can show me according to my capacities and my level. And that's the greatest manifestation of compassion that exists. And wisdom. So, the function of the Guru is not to show us his great qualities. Is to adapt his beautiful and wonderful qualities to our own capacity and needs in order to guide us. It's a clear difference. Because the point is not showing to us the most incredible, beautiful qualities so that we develop a sort of faith in which we request, oh Guru, you are the most incredible, do something for me. That's not the point. The point is manifesting him or herself in a level that we can understand and we can receive so that we can interact and follow the path. So many Buddhas have come up to now to this world in a gross level. But who was the one that was able to really to hook our mind and to show to us the path? Our own Gurus. So, if we have some little space to look clearly, we will see actually that there is no difference between our Guru and the Buddhas. In other words, how do we know who is in front of us? We don't have the ability to judge, truly speaking. Second, what is the work that the Buddhas are doing? They are doing the work that our Gurus are doing. They are doing the work of the Buddhas, for me. So, deep inside, there is no difference between all the Buddhas and my own Guru. This is something that it's not obvious. It's something that takes time to understand. There is one text which I don't have it right now here with me. We have it on this compendium of Lojong texts that we prepared, which is called The Medicine to Vomit by Panchen Losang Chogi Gyaltsen. Medicine to Vomit, the inner tumor of selfishness. And in this part, there is a part in which it says, even though I say that my Gurus are inseparable of all Buddhas, I continue to see them in an ordinary way and to judge them. You know? And that's what I relate with. So how to rely upon the Guru internally, it's we relate with the quality. And most of all, in the moment that I see my Guru purely, that's with what I connect. You know? But in our Western way of thinking, we have this strange attitude which is, okay, but is he really a Buddha or not? Let me check. So we start pointing the finger and we start saying, okay, which are the qualities of a Buddha? This, and that. Oh, there I saw him saying that. That's not what a Buddha would do. Oh, there he's doing that. Oh, I don't know if he's really a Buddha or not. Oh, there he's doing that. I don't know if he's like this or that. You know? If we do like that, the only one that loses anything is ourselves, no one else. Because it's the matter to whom I relate. How do I see? And it said very clearly, if we see in the Guru, the Buddhas, we receive the blessings of all the Buddhas through the Guru. Because this depends on how we relate. And actually this explanations, for a long time they were not giving much in the Western world. The first Tibetan masters that came to the West, they would not even touch this subject, even though in the Tibetan context it has been the most important part of teachings. Because there has been the danger of passing the image like, oh, you must respect me, you must do something towards me. No? But personally, I am here in the position okay, we are together into this path. And it's very, very important for us to understand it and to follow it correctly since the beginning. It is something like, when the relationship remains pure, and we are able to have the correct understanding, everything else after comes smoothly. If we start having uncertainties, and if we have inner doubts, and if we have inner conflicts, and all of this, then it's like an interference that goes into everything else on our path. So it's extremely important for us to have this trust on the very beginning, to have this deep love and gratitude. So, when we say to see the Guru as the Buddha, it's not something that is there for the benefit of the Guru. It's something that is there for our own benefit. And in our own path, when we are able to do that, we make quite a high step. When we develop that type of trust, when we develop that type of love, it makes a big difference. And this is something that, sorry if I put in these words, but I've seen a difference between in the Tibetan culture and in the Western world. That in the Tibetan culture, maybe because of all the centuries of teachings, the tendency is to see the teachers and the gurus and to put them very highly. So the tendency is, the Lama, whatever done, that's because of a special reason. There will never be any negative judgment. No, there is even a saying in the monastery between the monks that says, "Lame dzeba trabetenshik," which means when the lamas do something wrong, they are enlightened actions. When the monks did something wrong, common monks, they are destroying the Dharma. No? So this is just a way of saying. But this is also showing that there is this very strong aspect in the Tibetan culture, which comes from centuries of teachings, that our own Guru, whatever happens, we always keep the same connection purely. In our Western mentality, we have the other way around. Our tendency is that to bring the Guru to our own level and to judge the Guru in accordance to ourselves, which is what we already do normally with everyone else. Whenever we look to anyone, whenever we judge anyone, what is the reference that we have? Our own selves. So if you do this, it means that you think that, because if I would have done this, I would have taught that. This is how we do normally. We always judge the other using as reference our own self. That's the normal way. But we are not all the same. So it is important that when we relate to our Guru, the more we are able to create this pure view, the more we are able to have trust in the teachings and the Dharma, the more we are able to relate in a pure way. And this is something that we are the one receiving the greatest of the benefits, sincerely speaking. And we could go on and on if you go to read all the teachings of Lam Rim from Lama Tsongkhapa and from all the other masters, and from the sutras of Buddha, everywhere is talking about this importance to see in this way. But if we use some logic, we can see that it's actually very clear. Because if Buddhas exist, and I believe they do, because if anyone, once reaching a high level of realizations, continues to exist, and if they have the intention to help sentient beings, as they believe they do, they need to manifest themselves in a way that we can interact with. And who is the one that is doing that for me? That's my gurus. So, if Buddhas exist, that's how they will manifest towards me. So, the important thing here is that once we relate in a pure way, this will take us to follow the path correctly. This will take us to relate with these qualities that we want to become. And then the Guru becomes a role model for us to follow. That it's truly important. Because again, the point is not being near to someone wonderful. The point is following the path to become wonderful ourselves. Okay? And we can see in history many times there were many practitioners that they saw their Guru once or twice in their lives. And they followed the path beautifully. And there have been other people that they have been every day of their life together with their Guru, but they didn't do much. Because they didn't walk the path. Because they were comfortable being with someone so wonderful in their life. Okay? So, the first step on our path, which is the verse 84, is actually to generate such trust, is to generate such love and to cultivate it. And why these teachings are given so many times and so much emphasis is given on that? Because it's natural on us to judge negatively and to lose our own trust and to point the finger looking for mistakes. You know? But there is no any benefit whatsoever. So because of that, Lama Tsongkhapa in all the teachings and all the masters after him, and before that Atisha and Buddha Shakyamuni and all the others, they're always remembering us. Relate in a pure way. Remember the qualities. Develop gratitude. One of the other aspects of how to rely correctly upon the Guru through the mind is to have this deep sense of gratitude, respect, and gratitude. And what is also said, which is a little complicated for many of us, it is said that if we are not able to develop gratitude towards our parents, how can we have gratitude towards our Guru? Because when we look towards our parents, have our parents ever done anything that harmed us? Okay, I changed the question. Have the parents, never done anything that harmed you? No. Sure. Unless they were Buddhas. Okay, which I don't think is the case for most of us. But what happens if we are really hungry and we are not able to get food and someone comes and gives us food? Are we grateful? Yes. And what happens if we are not able to survive by our own selves and someone comes and takes care of us and saves our lives? Are we grateful? Yes. Does gratitude has an expiry date? Okay, you helped me this year, after 6 months finished? Actually not. Our parents were the ones that took care of us when we were this little baby, not able to eat, not able to clean oneself, not able to survive alone. Or not? As any one of us, we were born already ready for the world? No. So if not for anything else, and there are many other things, just this by itself we should be grateful for our whole life. That when we had the greatest of the needs, they were there to help and take care of us. And someone may say, oh, but that's their responsibility. They were the ones that made me. They need to take care. It doesn't matter. But they did, and we received. And we should be grateful, if not for other things, at least for that. You know, in our Western culture we say, oh, I should be grateful for my parents because they gave me life. No. If you were not reborn with them, you will be reborn somewhere else. Our parents don't give us life. They take care of us as we are born. They save our lives. Life, the body that we have come from our parents. It's true. But if I would not be born in this body, I would be born in some other body. But the fact is that when I was born, who took care of me? Who looked with me? Who saved my life? My own parents. This doesn't mean that they didn't do things that harm me. But as it is said in the Brazilian local, what do you say in English, saying, no? One thing is one thing, another thing is another thing. The fact that my mother or my father had some behaviors that harm me doesn't mean that they didn't do many things that were good and important and beneficial to me. Is it clear this? That one thing doesn't take away the other. The thing that they did many beautiful things doesn't take away the harm, and vice versa. Okay? But, for example, do you think that Tibetan parents are perfect? That Tibetan fathers and mothers don't do anything that may harm their children? I don't think so. But most of the Tibetan children have much better relationship with their parents than our modern Western kids. Why? Because they grow up with this message constantly. Be grateful to your parents. Be grateful to your parents. Be respectful to your parents. Be grateful to your parents. Be respectful to your parents. Constantly this message is there in society. I don't know nowadays, but mostly has been there in the culture, very strongly. So as the children grow up, they grow up with this idea that my father and my mother are so important to me and I am grateful to them. So they relate to the qualities. And they do not destroy that gratitude because of the conflicts and the difficulties and so on. And finally, they are better off. Because all the conflicts that are generated between children and parents, how long does that harm us? As long as we live. Or not? I don't know. Have anyone ever had any experience with that? Okay, the other question around, did anyone that have never had an experience with that? Okay? It's one of the very strong problems that we have in our modern times. It was not like this for our great-grandparents or our grandparents. And this doesn't mean that the parents of before were much better than now. But there was this culture of gratitude, which nowadays we lost a lot. And because there is something wrong, oh, then everything is wrong. And what we have is that we generate an idealized image of the father, an idealized image of the mother, how they should be. How come my father did this to me? How come my mother did that to me? If she was my mother, she was not supposed to do this. This is not what a mother should do. This is not what a father should do. They are just sentient beings trying to be happy in the middle of samsara with ignorance and anger and jealousy and everything else, you know. just as us. But we have an idealized image of what the mother should be and what the mother should do. And when our mother doesn't act as we think our mother should do, our mother is wrong. When our father doesn't act as what we think a father should do, our father is wrong. I'm not saying that our parents didn't do mistakes, or they didn't do actions that harmed us. I'm not saying that. I believe that very often parents do many things that harm their children. As children do things that harm their parents. Both sides. No? But our parents gives us a lot. And in the moment that we are able to connect with that and to develop this deep sensation of gratitude, it pacifies all the other conflicts. The moment that we are able to develop such gratitude. Okay? Sure, it's difficult to develop because we are not even used to thinking that way. Okay? Because we feel that we have been betrayed. Because I have entrusted in you such a perfect image of the Father, and then you are not. I have entrusted you such a perfect image of the Mother, and you are not. Okay? Anyhow, this is a subject that we could go on for the whole summer. Okay? But the point is that we relate very often looking for faults instead of remembering the benefits and developing this deep gratitude. Our teachers in school taught us how to read and write, and that's already something wonderful, and we should be grateful for it. And not enter into the judgment if our teacher was nice or not nice, if it was a good person or not. We should have gratitude. So one thing which is having gratitude doesn't mean saying that the person is perfect and everything else. It means acknowledging what we have received and being grateful for it. I don't know, it's clear the difference, right? And we receive so much. So one of the very important points when regards our Guru is gratitude. Because if we are not able to have gratitude, then forget about the whole path. This is like first step. Be grateful. Have gratitude. Say thank you. From deep inside. Instead of point the finger and look for faults. You know? Because if we point the finger and look for faults, that's what we relate with. That's what we would relate with. That's our choice. If we are grateful, if we develop this deep sensation of gratitude, that's what we will relate with. And when we feel great, when we feel this gratitude, it means we have a lot, and we connect to that. So, we will not have gratitude towards the Guru if we are not able to have gratitude in our daily life. You know? For example, now we will stop for lunch. You know? We should have gratitude that there is food for us to eat, no? Or not? Someone cooked. Someone made the shopping. Someone planted the vegetables. You know, someone served us the food. Someone cleaned the dishes. But I pay. Doesn't mean anything. It means that I'm just doing my part to try to keep everything running. I am doing my part in the whole interdependence. But if there was no one cooking, I would have nothing to eat. If there was no one planting, I would not have something to eat. So we should, at least when we sit to eat, have one moment in which we say thank you. Thank you to the one that brought me the food. Thank you to the one that cooked. Thank you to the animals that helped to produce the food. Thank you to the people that were planting. Thank you to nowadays machines, not so many animals anymore, but thank you to everyone that gave me this possibility. Okay? When I go to the toilet is clean. You know? Now, I have been to many toilets where no one enters to clean. In India and in China and in Malaysia, like now came to my mind two particular toilets, you know. One in Nepal and one in Lama actually. The worst one I've ever been was in one of the most sacred places I've ever been. In the basis of the Lama, which is this sacred lake of Pandelamo. Maybe from the time they built the toilet, it was never, ever, ever cleaned. You know? And it was quite disgusting. So when we enter the toilet, oh, thank you, has been cleaned. You know? When I put my clothes on, okay, someone took care of it. You know, when we do anything, we shouldn't take for granted. And the more we are able to say thank you, the more we are able to develop this feeling of gratitude, the better we are. And the more value we give to the things we have. The more we take things for granted, finally the more we suffer. And one of the basic steps on our path to enlightenment is to have gratitude towards those that give us and share with us and guide us. It's a deep feeling. Very important. And once we have this gratitude, it comes with respect, because we value. And then comes the manifestation in action, how to rely correctly upon the Guru in action. Then here there are many texts like the 50 verses of Guru devotion and many others in which explain all the things. Stand up when the Guru stands up and is present. Do not sit in the same level on the same place. There are many, many things that like many sort of, norms of conduct, of respect, which we may say, oh, but these are cultural. Yes and no. In a way they are cultural. In another way they exist in order to cultivate the feeling of gratitude and respect inside of us. I have had my own experience with that. Because Rinpoche, he was not very formal into these things. For him, it made any difference at all if you did prostrations, didn't do prostrations, if you stand up, didn't stand up, or any other thing like that, you know. You could do anything, for him it doesn't make any difference. You could treat him with the greatest of the respects, or you could turn your back to him and fart. You know? For him it would be the same. Now, for him, he would not make any issue about any of this. He will continue to love you in the same identical way. But if we do not cultivate respect, we lose. And we need the physical manifestation in order to cultivate the deep state of gratitude and respect and value. Respect means to value. For example, why do I stand up when my Guru enters the room? Because by standing up, I am actually acknowledging his presence. I am not acting indifferently through his presence. So which means I value. No? There are many ways of how to speak, how to remember. Like Atisha, whenever the name of his Guru was said, whenever Atisha listened to the name of any one of his Gurus, or whenever he said the name of any one of his Gurus, he would always put his hands in his heart, in the mudra of respect and prayer. You know? So, all of this is in order to help us to cultivate this deep feeling of gratitude, and which is of benefit for ourselves. We are the ones that truly need it, no one else. Okay? So the first step on our path is to rely correctly upon the Guru, which means to see the Guru as the Buddha, to develop this deep connection of love, of trust, and to have this beautiful gratitude. And together with that, then we act in accordance. So what we request here is, please bless me so that I may be able to rely correctly upon the Guru. Because it's not something obvious. It's not something that comes easily. It's something that needs to be cultivated. It needs to be taken care of. And once we have that, then we have all the other steps that come afterwards. Okay? That, and here it is represented from verse 85 onwards. Okay? So the first part is we do that. Tomorrow, not this afternoon, we have teachings also. So we have more time to go through the visualizations of this verse and so on yet. But it's just important for us to start connecting. What is the meaning of having a Guru? What is a Guru? How shall we relate to the Guru? What are the qualities that we relate with? And most of all, why do I need to be grateful? Because the Guru is showing to me what alone I'm not able to see. That is of the greatest benefit for myself. Okay? So, I'm saying all of this because I feel that it's important for us to know. Because we, as in the Western world, we don't have the image, the figure of the Guru in our culture. It is not there. We have father, mother, friend, teacher, but we don't have Guru. Maybe before there was something similar, but I don't know. We have in the Christian tradition, we have il padre, which is like the priest. But the way how I see people relating within the Christian context is different than what is the relation that we have towards the Guru. So we don't have the image of Guru in our culture. So this is something that we need to develop, and it takes some time. Okay? Just to conclude, we are not there to have a Guru doesn't mean to entrust our life in the hand of the Guru and take away our own freedom. That's the wrong way. To have the Guru doesn't mean, oh Guru, you are here for me, I do anything you want, I am in your hands. No. To have a Guru means, oh Guru, thank you that you are there for me, show me the path that I will follow. It's very different. Okay? So to have a Guru doesn't mean to lose trust in oneself. It means to gain trust in one's own abilities. We are not asking the Guru to do for us. We are asking the Guru to show us so that we can do because we trust our abilities and our strength. This is very important to understand. Okay? We do our dedications for today, for this morning. Shincho tamba jetsun lama laya chechin kube solwa tabe tu dele tsawa gombo kyenigi geshin jesun zimbe gyuru yongo jetsun lame kutse rapten chi namkar tinle chochur gepadang Losan tempe dreme sasumgi drove munse tato ne gyurchi kewa kunto yanda lama drame cheki pela longche sada lamge yenter Dorje change kopan yorto vashu Saishi peke chushi meto chari rabling she nide gembadi Sange shindul mikte ulwargi Drogu namda shingla che parash Yedam Guru Ratna Mandrala Kam Niryatayami Nimo dele tsendele Nime kuyan delekshi Ninsen takto delekpe, koncho sumke jingi lo, koncho sumke ngodru, koncho sum trashishon. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realization and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. All'alba o al tramonto, di notte o durante il giorno, possano i tre gioielli concederci le loro benedizioni, possano aiutarci ad ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e cospargere il sentiero della nostra vita con molti segni di buon auspicio. Om Ahum Tembala Me Sangye.